Hello everyone, my name is Sentongo Joshua, and in this video I'll be exploring the question, can computers think? As well as, would we ever have a computer that thinks? So I'll be answering the question all in the perspective of the music therapy AI system. Briefly, about the music therapy AI system, it's an AI that is able to detect a patient's emotional state. Maybe they are anxious, maybe they are stressed, and it picks the right music to heal this patient. So let's dig deep into this and find out whether computers can think or not. So the big questions of the debate are: computers, can they think? Well, currently computers have become so sophisticated that sometimes we forget that they are computers and not humans. An example would be of chatbots, the large language models that we all interact with on the daily. There's ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, and all the rest. So sometimes we chat with them and we forget they are actually computers. Just programs running on a server somewhere in a data center. Why? It's because of the way that they talk back to us that feels so human. We forget. But does that mean that they really think? And will we ever have computers that think? Just in case those computers are not actually thinking. So let's find out by first defining the debate. So computers are simply symbol manipulators that follow pre-programmed rules. Okay? What about thinking? In his paper, Alan Turing, the 1950 paper, Computation Machine, he didn't even bother defining thinking because he considered it to be a blocker to getting a genuine, a convincing answer to the question of thinking. Because humanity as a whole does not really have an agreed upon definition of thinking. Some consider it to be conscious reasoning, others consider it to be intelligent behavior. So because we have all these different definitions of thinking, then we shall have different answers to the question of whether computers can think or not. So, if we consider this in the context of the music therapy AI, I'll give you a deeper explanation of it. Consider a patient. This patient is fidgeting, with their body, they have an increased heartbeat, all the signs that show that a person is stressed or anxious. So the AI system is going to detect this, or maybe it's prompted with the patient's emotional state through text. Then it processes that data and selects the right music to comfort and heal this individual. It can play the right rhythm, the right keys, maybe on a soft instrument, the right beats per minute, so that it reduces the levels of the hormone cortisol in the person's brain. So cortisol is this stress hormone, and the AI system is trying to manipulate, play around with sounds that reduce the levels of the stress hormone so that the person feels relieved and calm. So, can we conclude that based on that, the way that the music therapy AI behaves, can we conclude on and say that it's thinking? Well, if it's producing the same therapeutic outcomes as a human therapist would, then it's intelligent. It's actually, according to Gartner's Age Intelligence, it's demonstrating at least 3 types of intelligences. There's musical intelligence, there's interpersonal intelligence, and logical intelligence. Musical intelligence because it's able to pick the right music to comfort an individual. And then there's this interpersonal intelligence because it's interacting with the individual, through emotions based on the songs that it chooses. And the fact that it's actually even making a decision on what song to play based on the patient's emotional state, that's right there, that's logic, that's reasoning. So we can conclude and say, based on its behavior, the music therapy AI system can be said to think. But there's a counter-argument to that belief. Sally came up with an argument that that kills that optimistic view we had earlier. Sally says that the music therapy AI system has actually never felt music. It doesn't know what it means to be stressed. It doesn't know what it means to be anxious, or the feeling one gets when they are relieved. So it's simply manipulating symbols, processing data, without actually having an understanding of whatever it's doing. So Sally says, real thinking requires genuine understanding and subjective experience. He considered the man in the Chinese room argument. There's a man in the room, and in comes Chinese characters, and then out goes English words. If this man is able to perfectly map Chinese characters to the right English words following the rule book, can we conclude based on that and say that the man understands Chinese? Well, definitely not, because he's following a rule book. He doesn't genuinely understand Chinese. He doesn't know the culture. He doesn't know what each character means. He doesn't have any personal history with Chinese. But does that mean we can never have computers that genuinely think? Well, the challenge that is currently stopping AI to have genuine thinking is the formalization problem. Consciousness is this thing that we ourselves do not really understand deeply enough. There's the feeling of intuition. We don't know where it comes from, but we believe everyone has experience of it. So how can we be able to formalize something that we ourselves don't actually understand? I'll give an example to nail this deeper into the ground. Consider two friends who hear the opening seconds of their shared favorite song. In just that short time, when they glance at each other, they can share this avalanche of emotions. Without even speaking a word, they're interacting emotionally. Can computers really be able to understand this human lived experience of the two friends? They never said a word, but they were able to connect to each other. So computers can store data and process it. The music therapy AI can store songs as data. It can pick the right song, but it has no lived experience of music and human emotions. And from Zenmark's point of view, computers are just simple manipulators. Zenmark actually said that some concepts in life, in reality, are just beyond formalization. We can never have complete formalization of anything. But that doesn't mean we should be we shouldn't believe that it's possible. There's this new the AI industry is hoping for artificial general intelligence, the frontier of AI. It's a system that thinks genuinely. It has consciousness and understanding of what it does, and it can simulate human behavior and thought. It's something that is being worked upon by AI researchers all over the world. It will be able to learn on its own and be able to create without basing on the sources it was trained on, but also things it has never seen before. And I would come to a conclusion of whether computers can think or not if you are a behavioristic believer and you think that if the behavior is intelligent, then it should count as thinking, then you align with Turing's argument that computers think because they behave intelligently. But if on the other hand, you are an internalist and just like Sally believe that true thinking comes from consciousness and genuine understanding, then computers today do not possess that and therefore can be said not to think. So, the music therapy AI system is just right in the middle of the two. It's both philosophically does not think because it lacks genuine understanding, but technically it thinks because it behaves intelligently. So it just lies right there in the middle, depending on how you view thinking. And I would really say that as long as there's intelligent behavior, we shouldn't really focus on making computers think exactly like humans do. Our main aim should be at obtaining this intelligent behavior and then using it to complement our activities as humans. I'll leave you with a quote from James Whitcomb Riley. If it looks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, then it probably is a duck. If a machine comforts and feels like a human, then we should say that it thinks. So, thank you for listening.